All right, my love. Come sit by me for a minute. I want to talk about a distinction that almost nobody learns early enough. Not because it's complicated, and not because it requires advanced psychology, but because it's quiet. The difference between limerence and love rarely announces itself with a dramatic moment. There's no clear turning point, no obvious mistake. It shows up in how your body feels when nothing dramatic is happening, in the pauses, in the silences, in the space between messages, in how your nervous system behaves when you're not actively being chosen or reassured. And if no one ever taught you what healthy love feels like in your body, limerence can feel like the most convincing thing you've ever known. Not because it's true, but because it's loud. Let me say this gently. Most people don't confuse limerence and love because they're incapable of love. They confuse them because limerence borrows love's language. It uses words like connection, meaning, chemistry, fate, depth, and from the inside, it feels charged, urgent, important, like something is at stake. So today, we're not going to talk about red flags. We're not going to make a checklist, and we're not going to shame you for falling hard. We're going to talk about the difference nobody talks about, the one you can feel, but maybe haven't had words for. Intensity versus safety. Limerence feels intense. Your thoughts narrow, your focus sharpens. Your nervous system wakes up. Everything feels heightened, vivid, urgent, alive. You replay conversations. You analyze tone. You feel a buzz in your chest that you mistake for excitement, attraction, or love. Love feels different. Love feels safe enough that your attention can wander. Safe enough that your body can soften. Safe enough that silence doesn't feel like a threat. Here's the quiet truth most people miss. Intensity feels meaningful when safety has been inconsistent. If closeness once came with unpredictability, if connection arrived alongside withdrawal, mood shifts, or emotional distance, your nervous system learned to equate activation with attachment. So when someone triggers that familiar charge, your body says, "This matters." Not because it's love, but because it feels known. Your system isn't chasing a person. It's recognizing a pattern. Love doesn't usually feel electrifying at first. It feels steady, and if steadiness was absent early in life, it can feel strangely underwhelming. That doesn't mean something's wrong. It means your body learned to survive in a different climate. Urgency versus presence. Limerence feels urgent. You feel like you need to know everything now. You feel like you need to know where you stand, what they meant, what happens next. Your mind keeps leaning forward, trying to resolve uncertainty before it swallows you. You refresh your phone. You reread messages. You look for clues that you're safe, chosen, wanted. Love doesn't rush you. Love lives in the present moment. It doesn't require constant clarification to feel real. It doesn't feel like it'll disappear if you stop monitoring it. When love is present, you don't feel compelled to chase certainty. You feel held inside it. There's a subtle but important distinction here. If your strongest attachments come with anxiety, that's not because you love more deeply. It's because your nervous system is trying to stabilize itself through another person. Urgency isn't devotion. It's regulation seeking. Your body is asking, "Please make this feeling stop." Love doesn't make you feel like you're running out of time. It makes you feel like you can breathe inside the moment you're in. Fantasy versus reality. Limerence thrives in imagination, in the version of the person you think could exist, in the future you picture unfolding, in the meaning you assign to small moments. A look, a phrase, a pause. Your mind fills in the blanks generously. You build a story that feels rich and intoxicating. Love exists in reality, in consistency, in follow-through, in how someone shows up when there's nothing to impress, in how conflict is handled, not avoided, in how repair happens after rupture, in how you feel before, during, and after time together. Here's a question worth sitting with. Do you feel closer to them in your imagination than you do in actual interaction? If the answer is yes, that's not love. That's longing filling in gaps. Fantasy feels powerful because it's under your control. Reality requires reciprocity. Limerence often attaches to what isn't fully available because distance leaves room for projection. Love doesn't require you to imagine who someone might become. It allows you to meet who they are. Self-abandonment versus self-presence. Limerence slowly pulls you away from yourself. It happens quietly. You monitor your words. You edit your reactions. You hesitate before expressing needs. You become smaller without realizing it. You tell yourself you're being patient, understanding, flexible, but underneath, you're disappearing. Love brings you back to yourself. You feel more honest, more grounded, more like you don't have to perform to stay connected. You laugh more freely. You speak more plainly. You don't feel like you're constantly managing how you're perceived. Love doesn't ask you to disappear to be chosen. If you notice that you feel most attached when you're least expressed, that's not devotion. No, honey. That's self-abandonment. And it often feels familiar because many of us learned early that being fully ourselves wasn't safe. Limerence rewards self-suppression. Love welcomes self-presence. Emotional dependency versus emotional availability. Limerence makes your mood dependent. One message lifts you. One silence drops you. Your emotional state starts orbiting another person's availability. Your inner world becomes reactive. Love creates emotional availability, not dependency. You still care. You still feel. But your emotional center stays inside you. Love doesn't regulate you. It supports you while you regulate yourself. You don't lose your footing every time there's distance. You don't feel like your well-being hinges on someone else's responsiveness. If you feel like you can't breathe until someone responds, that's not romance. That's your nervous system asking for relief. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human with a history. The misunderstood calm. Here's something people rarely talk about. Healthy love can feel boring at first if your system is used to chaos. Calm can feel empty, unfamiliar, even suspicious. You might think something must be missing. You might mistake peace for lack of chemistry, but often what's missing is adrenaline. Peace doesn't spike dopamine. It settles the body. And if your system learned that connection comes with intensity, peace can feel like disconnection. But that doesn't mean it is. It means you're learning a new language, a language where safety doesn't have to announce itself loudly to be real. A gentle reality check. Let me say this plainly. Love doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't require decoding. And it doesn't ask you to sit inside confusion just to prove there's depth there. If you're constantly wondering how someone feels, love isn't fully present. It might still be forming. But limerence has taken the lead. And that's something you can notice without beating yourself up for it. Confusion isn't a sign of depth. More often, it's a sign of absence. Why this distinction matters. This isn't about labeling past relationships as wrong. It's about understanding why certain patterns felt irresistible. Limerence feels powerful because it activates old wiring. Love feels grounding because it asks your system to rest. If rest feels unfamiliar, your body may mistake activation for aliveness. That's not a failure. That's history. And history can be updated. When you understand this difference, you stop blaming yourself for wanting what felt intense. You start asking different questions. Not, why am I like this? But instead, what did my system learn to expect? That shift alone creates space for change. A gentle reframe. You don't fall into limerence because you're naive. You fall into it because your system learned to orient around unpredictability. You don't struggle to feel love because you're broken. You struggle because love asks for presence, and presence wasn't always safe. Seeing this difference clearly isn't about choosing differently overnight. It's about noticing when your body tightens, when your thoughts spiral, when urgency replaces ease. That awareness alone starts shifting the pattern. Because once you can feel the difference, you can't unfeel it. And slowly, your system learns that connection doesn't have to hurt to be real. If this put words to something you've felt but never articulated, you're not alone. If this helped you understand why certain connections felt overwhelming and others felt strangely flat, you're not broken. You're learning. If this resonated, Please take a quick second to like the video so it reaches others who are quietly confusing intensity with love and blaming themselves for it. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this, the kind that slow things down and help you listen to what your nervous system is actually saying. Feel free to leave a comment and share what resonated most. Sometimes seeing your own experience reflected back helps someone else feel less alone too. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who's stuck in that ache and doesn't know why, feel free to share this with them. Sometimes the most healing thing is realizing that what you felt made sense. And if this resonated, stay with me. In the next episode, we're going to talk about why your brain picks that person, the psychology of limerence, and why certain people light up your mind so powerfully, even when the connection hurts. Big Sis has your back. Take care of yourself, my dear, and I'll see you next time.